film opened on a busy highway, showing a car caught dead in a traffic jam. Inside the vehicle sat two bodyguards who were tasked with escorting a mafia boss they called Boss Sam. The bodyguard with the beard was Gaz, and the other was Arif. It was known that Gaz and Arif were not operating alone, as three other colleagues traveled in a following car as backup. Soon after, Arif spotted a highly suspicious car in the traffic and immediately alerted Gaz. Gaz wasted no time in preparing his weapon, fearing the other car was indeed targeting their boss. At that very moment, a street vendor selling fruit salad approached their car. Boss Sam, seeing the vendor, asked Gaz to buy the fruit salad. Just as Gaz reached to open his window, a group of people from the suspicious vehicle suddenly exited and launched an attack on the mafia boss, who was guarded by Arif. When Gaz briefly tussled with the attackers, the bodyguards in the rear car also bailed out, initiating a ferocious shootout. After a prolonged battle, Gaz, Arif, and their colleagues managed to wipe out the group of assailants. In short, Arif, Gaz, and their three colleagues found themselves at the police station to account for the firefight. However, they were soon released because the arrest was merely a formality. Police chief then approached Gaz and told him plainly that if they were not subordinates of Dato Zul, they certainly would have faced life imprisonment. It was revealed that Gaz and his group of bodyguards belonged to an organization led by a man named Dato Zul. Dato Zul was the powerful leader of the notorious criminal organization, which held immense influence in the country. It was said that even mafias, gangsters, and law enforcers all bowed to Dato Zul. On the following day, Gaz and his squad gathered at their headquarters. The audience was introduced to Dato Zul's adopted son, Fadlan. Fadlan instructed Gaz and the others to prepare, as they would be hunting down the mastermind behind the previous attack on Boss Sam that very night. Soon enough, night arrived. Gaz and the others were already staked out at a nightclub, awaiting the arrival of the man responsible for ordering the attack. When the man appeared, Gaz immediately knocked him unconscious. When the man regained consciousness shortly after, Gaz explained that Boss Sam had paid a hefty sum to Dato Zul for protection. Therefore, anyone who dared to mess with the boss was essentially picking a fight with Dato Zul. Without mercy, Gaz instantly eliminated the man. An hour later, the audience was introduced to Dato Zul's daughter, Sheila. Sheila was approached by her ex-boyfriend, Daniel, who attempted to reconcile, but she refused. The infuriated Daniel became aggressive and tried to use force. Fortunately, Gaz arrived just in time to stop him. Before leaving, Gaz informed Daniel that Sheila would be marrying him very soon. He warned that if he dared to bother her again, Gaz would kill him. It was revealed that Gaz and Sheila were indeed in a relationship and were planning to marry in the near future. The next day, Gaz and Sheila were seen having lunch while discussing their wedding preparations. Soon after, Fadlan, Sheila's adopted brother, approached Gaz and informed him that Dato Zul, his father, wanted to meet with Gaz immediately. Gaz went quickly to see Dato Zul. Dato Zul then revealed that he was actually suffering from stage 4 cancer and did not have long to live. Because of this, Dato Zul asked Gaz to expedite his marriage to Sheila, as he feared he might pass away soon. Dato Zul then held the hands of both Gaz and Fadlan, while announcing that, starting that day, he would give them individual responsibilities. He ordered Fadlan to manage all of their overseas businesses. As for Gaz, he was appointed to replace him as the leader of the organization. He did this because he was already familiar with the character of each man. Following the announcement, Arif and the other members showed their respect and congratulated Gaz on becoming their new leader. That same night, Dato Zul's headquarters received a visit from Boss Sam. This time, the boss came to lodge a serious complaint because one of Dato Zul's men, named Sham, had killed Boss Sam's younger brother. Two of Boss Sam's subordinates then brought in the badly beaten Sham, and the boss demanded that Dato Zul execute Sham immediately. Dato Zul announced that from now on, the decision would not be made by him, but by the new leader of the organization, Gaz. Initially, Gaz was hesitant to order Sham's execution, as he was certain the man had a compelling reason for killing the mafia boss's brother. However, Dato Zul firmly stated that, according to the rules, Sham had to be executed because no member was allowed to kill the family of a client who was under the organization's protection. Ultimately, Gaz felt compelled to execute Sham, even though Sham was his own comrade. Before heading to the execution site, Arif spoke to Gaz, urging him to reconsider his decision. Gaz apologized, explaining that this was a rule that nobody could defy. Soon after, Gaz and everyone else proceeded to the execution site to witness Sham being eliminated. Gaz put Sham into a car, followed by Gaz shooting the man dead. The following day, it was seen that Daniel visited a man named Jockey. Jockey was known as an electronics technician. Daniel's purpose in coming there was to ask Jockey to assemble a small, discrete CCTV camera. Once the camera was built, he wanted Jockey to place it inside Sheila's bedroom. It turned out he intended to record Sheila's wedding night with Gaz after they got married, securing a way of blackmailing his ex-girlfriend. Jockey initially refused, claiming he had never done anything like that before. However, after Daniel offered him a substantial fee, he finally agreed to do it. Eventually, the day arrived for Gaz and Sheila to be married. The scene showed the solemnization ceremony where Gaz accepted the marriage. After the ceremony, all the guests were invited to enjoy the wedding feast. Jockey was seen there, having disguised himself as a catering staff member to execute his mission. A short time later, Sheila messaged Arif, asking if the allergy medicine she requested was in his possession. It was revealed that Sheila suffered from an allergy and frequently asked Arif to obtain the medication for her. Arif, who had already bought the medicine, suggested they meet upstairs. Upstairs, Arif gave Sheila the medicine and then started to head back downstairs. As Arif walked, he accidentally crossed paths with Jockey, who had just finished installing the hidden camera in Sheila's room. Surprisingly, Arif recognized Jockey, as it turned out that Jockey was his estranged biological older brother. Arif immediately questioned what Jockey was doing, and Jockey quickly claimed he was working as a catering staff member. It was revealed that although Jockey and Arif were siblings, they had been estranged for a long time since the death of their parents. In short, the wedding reception concluded. Before going to the bridal suite, Gaz took a moment to speak with Dato Zul. Gaz told Dato Zul that he would try his best to find a cure for his cancer. However, Dato Zul refused, stating that it was pointless and he was ready to die at any time. What mattered most to him now was that Gaz made his daughter Sheila happy. While embracing the old man, Gaz promised to look after Sheila and take full responsibility for the organization that Dato Zul built. Following their conversation, Gaz headed to the room, knowing Sheila must be waiting for him. However, upon arrival, he was completely shocked to find Sheila lying lifeless, still clutching the medicine Arif had given her. He could only weep, unable to comprehend that Sheila had died on their wedding night. Shortly afterward, the police arrived at the house to process the crime scene related to Sheila's death. Gaz examined the security footage near the room and saw Arif giving medicine to Sheila. Gaz instantly concluded that Arif must have deliberately killed Sheila using the medication. Shortly after, Arif was immediately arrested and brutally tortured by Fadlan, Sheila's adopted brother. It was then Gaz's turn to confront Arif, demanding to know why he would betray him and kill Sheila. Arif desperately swore that he had not killed Sheila and that the medicine he gave her was harmless and non-lethal. Gaz, however, refused to believe him and promised to exact a much more brutal revenge on Arif. Soon after, Dato Zul summoned Gaz because the police had discovered something in Sheila's room. It turned out the police chief had found a small camera hidden behind the mirror. This suggested that the murder had been planned from the beginning. The scene shifted to Jockey and his friend, who were about to open a laptop to view the recorded video of Sheila's wedding night. Jockey was shocked when the video he played did not show the wedding night, but instead showed Sheila's murder. Meanwhile, Arif was still being restrained by Gaz, but he was suddenly approached by a mysterious man who demanded that Arif hand over the video recording of Sheila's murder. Arif appeared confused because he did not possess any video. He then managed to break free from his restraints and fought the mysterious man. After successfully subduing the man, Arif decided to escape the location on a motorcycle. He went to see his girlfriend, a nurse, who then treated his wounds. Soon, Arif remembered his estranged brother, Jockey, who had appeared at Sheila's wedding. He was convinced that Sheila's death was connected to his brother, as he knew Jockey never actually worked as a catering staff member. Immediately, he rushed to find Jockey at his electronics shop. Meanwhile, Gaz was furious when he learned that Arif had managed to escape. He instructed Fadlan and one other subordinate to stay at the headquarters while he and the others would personally hunt down Arif. The scene shifted back to Jockey, who was visited by Daniel, demanding the video recording. Jockey then doubled the price, explaining that the video contained a recording of Sheila's murder. Hearing that Sheila was dead, Daniel was shocked and desperate to see who the killer was. Jockey agreed to hand over the flash drive containing the video, only if Daniel transferred the money immediately. Daniel agreed to Jockey's demand. However, when Jockey let his guard down, he attacked him with pepper spray and took the flash drive. He managed to escape while Jockey was unable to pursue him because his eyes were in pain. Shortly thereafter, Arif arrived and immediately choked Jockey before dragging him inside the shop. He demanded to know what Jockey was truly doing at Sheila's wedding. Jockey initially refused to talk until Arif threatened to completely trash his shop. Jockey eventually explained that he was merely hired by Daniel to plant a hidden CCTV camera in Sheila's room. The goal was only to record the wedding night so it could be used to blackmail both. However, when he checked it earlier, the footage showed Sheila's murder instead of the wedding night. Upon hearing this, Arif demanded that Jockey hand over the recorded evidence. Jockey replied that the flash drive containing the video had just been stolen by Daniel. In the end, Arif ordered Jockey to take him to Daniel's place. Meanwhile, Gaz and his subordinates were still searching for Arif's location. Soon, one of Gaz's men successfully tracked Arif's phone and located him. Gaz quickly instructed the subordinate to send the location, then told the man to return to headquarters while he went alone. Returning to Arif and Jockey, they had just arrived at the club owned by Daniel. Unfortunately, they witnessed Daniel being held at gunpoint by a mysterious man who then killed him. The mysterious man then took the flash drive containing Sheila's murder recording, prompting Arif to immediately attack the stranger. While they were busy fighting, Jockey seized the opportunity to grab the flash drive and run into another room. After a long duel, Arif finally defeated the mysterious man and unmasked him. He was shocked to see that the man was his own comrade, a man named Pablo. Unfortunately, Pablo was still able to fight, and he quickly fled. Arif, realizing that Jockey had taken the flash drive, decided to search for Jockey instead of pursuing Pablo. Jockey, meanwhile, was preparing to leave the club when Gaz suddenly appeared and brutally beat him. Arif arrived just in time and shouted at Gaz to stop. However, Gaz was determined to finish Jockey, forcing Arif to fight the enraged man. In the middle of the duel, Arif pleaded with Gaz to listen to his explanation, claiming he had proof regarding Sheila's murder. Unfortunately, Gaz refused to listen and continued to attack him. Just as Gaz was about to eliminate Arif, the stage screen suddenly displayed a recording of the moment Sheila was murdered. It turned out that Jockey, in the operator's room, was the one who played the video. The footage clearly showed Sheila removing her jewelry in preparation for her wedding night with Gaz, when suddenly two men entered and quickly rendered Sheila unconscious. Then one of the men injected a poison into Sheila's body, killing her. Afterward, they staged the scene to make it appear as though her death was caused by the medicine Arif had given her. Gaz and Arif were shocked when they saw the perpetrator, who turned out to be Fadlan, Dadozul's adopted son, assisted by Pablo. The scene shifted to Fadlan having a private conversation with Dadozul. Fadlan demanded to know why Dadozul gave the leadership of the organization to Gaz instead of to him. Dadozul replied that Gaz was a more suitable leader for the organization than him. Fadlan then asked Dadozul if he remembered an incident from 30 years ago. It was revealed that the younger Dadozul had executed a traitor in his organization, who was, in fact, Fadlan's biological father. Fadlan witnessed the entire incident and could only cry. Dadozul, feeling pity for the boy, took him home and adopted him. This was his penance for his sins in the past. Fadlan suddenly confessed that he was the one who killed Sheila. He had done this as revenge on Dadozul for his father's death, coupled with his deep envy over not being chosen as the leader of the organization. Upon hearing all of this, Dadozul immediately ordered one of his bodyguards to take Fadlan to the execution site. When outside, Dadozul grew suspicious because there were no guards present except for Pablo. It turned out that Fadlan had already captured all of Dadozul's remaining subordinates. Once Dadozul entered his car, mercenaries hired by Fadlan suddenly appeared and immediately opened fire. riddling Dadozul and his bodyguard with bullets. At that very moment, Gaz, Arif, and Jockey arrived. Gaz quickly stepped out of the car, determined to save Dadozul and eliminate Fadlan. Unfortunately, the former boss of the organization was killed instantly by the mercenaries' gunfire as the car exploded. Witnessing that incident naturally made Gaz even angrier. However, this time he fell after being riddled with bullets by the mercenaries. Quickly, Arif and Jockey immediately carried him away and fled the scene. The next day, Gaz, still unconscious, was treated by Arif's girlfriend at Jockey's house. Fortunately, during the incident, Gaz was wearing a bulletproof vest, so he did not sustain serious injuries. It did not take long before Gaz regained consciousness, and he immediately spoke with Arif. Gaz apologized to Arif for wrongly accusing him earlier, stating that he never expected the real perpetrator to be Fadlan. Arif forgave him and promised to always be by his side. Meanwhile, Fadlan was gathering all the members of the organization from every city. Apparently, he wanted to announce that he would now be the new leader of the organization, replacing Dadozul. He also fabricated a story that Dadozul and Sheila were killed by Gaz, with Arif's help. Next, he went to a warehouse to eliminate several of Gaz's subordinates, whom he had captured yesterday. He brutally massacred them to ensure no one else knew the truth about the incident. The focus shifted back to Gaz, who was now visiting a remote house in the middle of a forest. Upon arrival, he was greeted by Sham, the colleague he had previously been ordered to execute. It was revealed that during the execution process, he had not actually killed Sham, but instead ordered him to escape via the river. He had done this deliberately because he believed Sham was innocent. Gaz explained to him that Fadlan had betrayed the organization. He added that Fadlan had brutally killed Dadozul and Sheila merely for power. Now he asked Sham to help him take revenge on Fadlan. Sham, who remained fiercely loyal to Gaz, readily agreed to the request. Meanwhile, Arif called the police chief and requested assistance to transport Jockey's family and his girlfriend to a safe house. The police chief agreed, but only on the condition that Arif be arrested, as he was previously the prime suspect in Sheila's murder. Arif swore he was innocent. He then handed over the flash drive, explaining that all the proof of Sheila's murder was contained on it. Convinced, the police chief agreed to take Yaki and his girlfriend to the safe house. However, just as they entered the car, they were suddenly ambushed. It turned out the attack came from Pablo, acting on Fadlan's orders. The gunfight lasted for some time, but in a moment of opportunity, Pablo managed to kidnap Jockey. Shortly thereafter, Arif received a voice message from Fadlan, demanding that they meet immediately and bring the flash drive containing the evidence of Sheila's murder. If Arif failed to arrive within 1 hour, Fadlan promised to kill Jockey. Upon hearing this, Arif quickly prepared to leave, as he had fortunately copied the video evidence onto his cell phone. 30 minutes later, Arif arrived at Fadlan's location. Fadlan and all his forces, including Pablo, were seen holding Jockey hostage. Arif demanded that Fadlan release Jockey first, promising to give him the video evidence afterward. Fadlan refused, insisting that Arif hand over the requested flash drive first. Arif bluffed, claiming he had copied the flash drive's contents to his cell phone and that with just one click, the video would be uploaded to all social media platforms. As a result, Fadlan complied and released Jockey. Immediately after Jockey was freed, Arif uploaded the video and simultaneously detonated a bomb he had planted in his car. He then launched an attack on Fadlan's forces. However, Arif and Jockey were quickly outnumbered and cornered by Fadlan's subordinates. Fadlan approached, stating that this time he would truly finish off both Arif and Jockey. But suddenly a figure arrived and started shooting in their direction. The figure who arrived was none other than Gaz and Sham, who had come for revenge. Gaz, Sham, and Arif immediately united to attack Fadlan's subordinates. After successfully eliminating the forces on the ground floor, Gaz instructed Arif to take Jockey and leave. Gaz himself went after Fadlan, who had fled upstairs, while Sham focused on fighting the remaining members of Fadlan's men. As Arif tried to drive Jockey away, the car unfortunately broke down. They were then attacked by Pablo. During the fight, Pablo managed to corner Arif, but Jockey, seizing a nearby gun, shot Pablo and helped his brother. After that, he joked, smugly asked if he was now like John Wick, able to eliminate someone with a single shot. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to them, Pablo was still alive and immediately stabbed Jockey as he was off guard. Arif instantly fought him back and ensured that this time, the thug was truly offed. At the same time, Gaz finally caught up with Fadlan, and they began to fight intensely. During their brutal fight, Gaz managed to corner Fadlan. He demanded to know why Fadlan did all of this. Unbeknownst to Gaz, Fadlan managed to grab an electric stun device and used it to shock Gaz. The scene returned to Arif, who pleaded with Jockey to hold on, promising to take him to the hospital immediately. Sham then arrived, and Arif asked Sham to take Jockey to the hospital instead, while he went to find Gaz. Upstairs, Fadlan was preparing to finish off Gaz, but fortunately, Arif arrived just in time to assist. During the fight, Gaz recovered and rejoined Arif in fighting Fadlan. Even though it was 1 against 2, Fadlan proved to be a formidable opponent and managed to stab Gaz. Fortunately, Arif had laid a trap for Fadlan, causing him to die in an explosion. Days later, Arif and Gaz met at a certain location. Gaz revealed that he was going to Thailand to find his mother. He no longer wished to be involved in the underworld and wanted to live a normal life like an ordinary person. He then appointed Arif as the new leader of the organization, replacing him. However, Arif refused the offer because he, too, wanted to live a normal life and marry his girlfriend. From that point on, the two parted ways to start their respective new lives. The position of leader of the organization was ultimately taken up by Sham upon Gaz's direct instruction.